Hello, so in this video I'm going to take a look at some of the recent changes to CTE. Specifically going to take a look at the med pack, the med bag, the AEK, the ACE-23, squad obliteration and the mobile AA. The background to this is a round of conquest on lockers, and it was a round on one of the DICE LA test servers, and you got people like X Factor, Danny on PC, Tiggy, TomTom, a whole bunch of DICE devs, YouTubers, playing on lockers and Metro to test out some of the infantry things. Now before you think I got invited to a special server, no, this is just one of the servers that was running on the CTE environment. And besides the usual CTE testing, one of the things we were looking at was the single shot kills. So if you haven't seen it, Levelcap and Matimio have done a video that shows how one shot kills actually happen. So while they were recording some sniper gameplay, they actually got one of these one-shot kills to occur, and they got it from both sides. So what happened is they were using L96s, they both shot each other, both got hit markers and hit animations, but each of their UIs said they were still on 100 health. When they got shot next, that health instantly dropped from 100 to 0. That's because rather than being on 100 health like their UI showed them, they were on say 93 health. So 25 damage from an LMG instantly killed them. Or that's what it looked like. It wasn't actually a one-shot kill, it was the UI not reporting what their health was properly. So it turns out what has been chased round and round as a netcode problem might actually be just a UI reporting issue. Now Tiggy's seen the video and he said that they're pretty sure they know what the problem is and will be fixing it. So as you can see, I'm playing the medic class, and there's been a big change to the medic bag and medic pack. As you know, in a live game, neither of those will give you healing while you are suppressed. And that means while you're being shot at and currently taking suppression, while your suppression's cooling off, any of those, you won't get any healing, take any damage, you won't get any healing. That's changed slightly on CTE. Now it only stops healing if your suppression is on maximum or is going up. If you're no longer being suppressed and your suppression is cooling off, then you start healing again. Unless you take damage, then that stops it. The medic pack has changed even more. That will heal through suppression. The only thing that stops the medic pack healing is you taking damage. So if you take any damage, the medic pack stops healing and you lose it and would have to drop another one. And that gives the medic bag and the medic pack two distinct roles. The medic bag is now what you drop down in an area to area heal. So if you've got a bunch of people defending, you can drop a medic bag down, it will area heal, but it won't heal through combat. If you've got a medic pack, that will heal through suppression. So that is now the combat medic option. So essentially you've got the medic pack if you're pushing forward, getting into a lot of firefights, and you've got the medic bag if you want to hang back in defence and heal those around you. Now I'm going to move on to the weapon changes, and there's been a couple of surprising changes to two assault rifles that were already very good. The AEK and the ACE-23. So firstly the AEK. What they've done is reduced its first shot multiplier but slightly increased its overall upwards recoil. Now you would think that increasing a gun's recoil would be a nerf, but for the AEK it's not. Because the first shot multiplier has gone down, the recoil is actually now more predictable. There's no massive kick when you start firing. So it hasn't really affected it at close range, it's made it a bit easier to control at medium range. But it's made a massive difference to the AEK's burst fire. Because there's no longer that massive kick at the start, you can actually burst fire the AEK much more effectively than you could before. So it's made it better at medium and long ranges. So the AEK has actually got a buff, which is something the AEK might not have needed. The other gun that's been affected, the ACE-23, has got an even more significant buff. So the ACE guns were always supposed to have more ammunition than the standard assault rifles, so the ACE-21 already has more ammunition. The ACE-23 has now gone up to having 36 rounds in a magazine. The supposed penalty for that was they increased its reload time, but they increased its reload time by a 20th of a second it seems, which isn't really a penalty at all. So basically you get 5 extra rounds for free. So I'm not sure anybody would have said either of those guns needed a buff, but now they've got it. The other weapon that's seen some quite major changes recently is the SRAW. When they first changed the SRAW, they nerfed it into the ground. They decreased its manoeuvrability in turning circle, they decreased its blast damage, they decreased its damage when laser designated. It was kind of awful, and I use the SRAW a lot in the live game. In this recent patch they have increased the manoeuvrability again, but only by about half of what they took off it. And they've increased its view. So when you look down the scope in the SRAW now, you actually get a slightly bigger scope showing you a bit more of the world around you. But I am a bit confused as to why they're nerfing one of the missiles that needs skill to use quite so hard. Now, yes, the SRAW is probably a bit overpowered because it can do everything, but surely the best way to stop it being able to do everything is do things like remove its laser designation ability completely. The SRAW doesn't need it. It also doesn't seem to make a lot of sense to reduce its blast damage, meaning that you have to be more accurate with it, and then reducing its ability to be accurate. One or the other, I would have thought. Preferably reduce its blast damage so you have to be more pinpoint with your targeting, but leave its manoeuvrability alone so you can actually be as accurate as you need to be. There have been some much needed changes to the mobile AA. Now surprisingly, what they've added to the AA is spread and damage drop off. So currently in the live game the mobile AA has no spread, so it doesn't matter how long you shoot for, it's always going to be the same accuracy. And it also has no damage drop off, so no matter what range you hit something at, it always does its maximum damage. So they've added damage drop off to both the 20mm and 30mm cannons. They've slightly increased its damage close range so that it's balanced mid-range and lower at long range. They've increased the range and the projectile speed of the 20mm cannon to make that now the long range option. So that's the option you would use on jet heavy maps. The 30mm cannon is what you would probably use on chopper heavy maps. And this has given a really good balance to the mobile AA. The biggest change that affects it is that addition of spread, because you can't just hold your finger down on the trigger of the mobile AA anymore. You have to burst fire it to be accurate at range. And another change they've made to the mobile AA is they've made it so the guns can raise higher. So currently in the live game you can only lift the gun 65 degrees. That means a helicopter can just park over the top of you and you can't shoot it. Now they've raised that up to 80 degrees and it means that the mobile AA can shoot something over the top of it much more easily. There is talk of reducing the angle at which the mobile AA can look downwards, so maybe having it so that it can't shoot down. That would make it less effective against infantry. So you couldn't park it on a hill and look down on infantry and then just take them out, because the guns wouldn't point low enough for you to shoot them. And finally I want to talk about squad obliteration, which used to be competitive obliteration, but they've changed its name. Now the game mode hasn't changed that much, it's still 5v5 obliteration, but they've made some very good small changes. So what I'm going to do is do a separate video on squad obliteration because I think it's now actually fun. There's also been some hints that there's going to be more nighttime maps coming to CTE, Golmud Railway and Siege of Shanghai. So when that comes out I'll do some coverage of those as well. But those are the major changes that have happened to CTE recently. There have been some changes to jets, but as I'm not a very good pilot, I'm not going to cover those because I don't really understand all the mechanics of them. But that's the end of the round, and it's the end of this video. So I didn't exactly play great in this round. My KD wasn't particularly amazing. As you can see I got 12 and 8, but I did get quite a good score. Yeah, X Factor's KD is far better than mine, unsurprisingly, but I kind of hope that my medicing did contribute to that somehow. Anyway, I hope my ramblings about CTE were at least interesting and that my gameplay wasn't too painful. Thanks for watching.